There's a list of things that is recommended by everyone, and everyone pretty much always uses that same list to pack things. So there are like a couple of lists that are always spread out in different WhatsApp groups, and people will usually refer those to pack their suitcases and luggages. We went over the things you need to travel in the last video. In this video, I want to talk about what things you need to bring or you need to pack in your luggage bags. Now, there's already a list, so why do you need my help in packing? Well, believe it or not, there is a list that gets shared every year, and this is the same list that I used to pack all of my stuff, and this is the same list that I've been seeing since 2017 that people used to pack all of their luggage. So, and there are like two or three similar lists that get shared every single year. My guess is that this list hasn't been updated since the last 10 to 15 years at least, and a lot has changed since then. So let's go over the list and figure out which particular things you actually need. All right, so this is the list of items to pack and carry to the USA, and this is the exact same list that I used as well when packing. This was one of the three lists, and I mixed and matched different things and then did my packing. So let's start. So the first paragraph is you need to carry original certificates. That's important. Yes. Passport with visa stamped. Yes, you need that. I-20, you need that. Ticket and money, you need that. So it looks good till now. And my guess is that I could eliminate at least 50% of the items in the list because you do not need most of the things that are mentioned in the list. So the first item is official documents. You need your official documents, yes. Medicines with prescriptions. You need them. Essential items, optional items, and then items to be purchased in the USA. So, well, off the start, this list is divided into 5 different categories, so it's very well managed. Before you go through the things, we need to buy luggage bags, check in bags. Make sure you're doing this. Confirm the size and the weight requirements by your airline. This is important. And then TSA locks. Make sure you all of your bags have TSA. So like if your bag does not have a built-in TSA lock, you can get it from any store as well. The reason that they have to be TSL locks is because if there is something that they want to check, they can open it and check it. It doesn't happen a lot, but then if there is something they find suspicious, they have a way to open the locks and check it and then lock it again. So the first thing is important documents, cash, and traveler's checks. Please carry the following in your cabin bag and keep a copy of all the documents in your check-in luggage. So when I was preparing my luggage, I ended up keeping the original documents in my personal item bag, and then I had four other bags, one cabin and three other check-in, and I separated out my documents in each of these bags. So I had like four extra sets of all of my documents, which is not really needed. You just need the original copies. Maybe if you want to stretch it, you can keep one extra copy in your cabin bag, because when you think of it, if your original document, let's say you have your passport and visa, if you lose the original document, you're pretty much screwed. So it doesn't matter if you have the extra copies at that point. All right, so my recommendation is keep all of the original copies with you in your personal item bag and then keep scanned copy in your Google Drive. And then if you want, you can have one extra copies because sometimes you need to give out these copies to different organizations. So it will save on printing costs. That's it. All right, the first document is passport with visa stamping. You need that. I-20, you need that, important. Admission letter. See, admission letter is something I've never been asked. So, and your I-20 is pretty much the proof that you have admission. So I would actually remove that, strike that out. Health immunization form. This is again something that I've never been asked. I have copies of it, but then nobody has ever asked me like, what are the immunizations that you took? Usually the college will check which immunizations you have and only then issue your I-20. So it doesn't make sense to have an extra copy of that because your college will already have a record of it. Medical prescriptions, make sure you have that. I've never been asked, but just to be on the safe side, make sure you have that. Original transcripts. Usually schools will require you to submit one copy of transcripts. I had like 6 different copies. You do not need a lot. Just have one copy of transcripts or two maybe, but you need that, yeah. Original degree certificate. I probably don't have this document, and even if I do, they've never asked me this before, so you don't need the original degree certificate. Affidavit of financial support and bank statements. Again, this is something that has never been asked to me. After your visa, I guess they do not check your bank statements and financial support things. Original mark sheets, I've never been asked. Service fee receipt, I've never been asked. Admission offer letter, same thing, never been asked. GRE and TOEFL score reports, never been asked. College leaving certificate, I don't even have my college leaving certificate, but never been asked. International driving license, if you have one. I had my driver's license from India and I did not have an IDL. international driver's license. But so yeah, if you have one, you can bring it. Otherwise, there's no need. The traveler's check, cash, and receipts. You definitely don't need any checks or receipts. So pretty much everyone has a forex card these days. You do not need traveler's checks, cash, and receipts. Especially the receipts for the money. If you do not have a lot of money, they'll not ask you for receipts and stuff. Cash, notes, and coins, not more than 3,000. You do not need 3,000 in cash, but it's good to have some cash. Indian currency cash, again, this is something you do not need at all. Photographs, US size 2-inch cross 2-inch. It says 25 to 30 photos, but I've just been asked my photo once in the US, and that was while applying for OPT. Apart from that, I've never been asked. And even for that, they had a lot of strict requirements, so it is easier to just get a photograph. So with photographs, I suggest you have a digital copy of your photograph meeting all of the visa requirements. Even if you have like a lot of photos, it's pretty much useless. So there's if you just have one digital copy which is meeting certain requirements, that's all you need. You do not need a physical copy of your photo as well. Remove the Indian size photograph part, and then the 25 to 30 photos. You just need one or two copy maybe, and then you can get any more that you need over here. The certificate information of ISSO at school. I don't know what that document is, but I've never been asked that. And birth certificate, again, never been asked. I've been in the US for like 2 years, and if I've not been asked these documents in 2 years, they probably aren't gonna ask. And usually people will travel back to India once every 2 or 3 years. So if you're missing some documents, you can get it the next time. But for the first 2 years, especially during your school, you will not be asked any of these documents that I've striked out. Please carry address of your temporary accommodation and phone number, emergency contact person. It's good to have all of those information. I've never been asked. It's just for yourself. If you want it, you can carry it. Also, convert your SIM to international roaming or buy Matrix SIM at airport. I don't know what Matrix SIM is, and I would not suggest buying any SIM card at the airport. So this I could remove. Also, international roaming is very expensive, so it's better to come here, get another SIM, and then use that. Also, you will be most likely making international internet video calls, so you can just use Wi-Fi. You do not need a SIM card immediately unless you're calling locally. Also, yeah, this is important. Please create Google Drive folder of yours and place scanned copies of these documents in the folder. So next we have stationery items. So we have marker, calculator, pencils, logbook, glue stick, keychain. The only thing you could probably need out of all of these is your calculator if you are in a very math intensive subject. Apart from that, you won't even need your calculator. I would actually strike out everything because all of these items are pretty inexpensive in the US. If you go to Target or dollar store near your place, you could get all of these things. There's no need to buy any stationery items. Maybe if you need a calculator for your program, then you can get it. Otherwise, you do not even need a calculator. Next, we have medicines. All right, so the thing with medicines is they list out a lot of things. I have probably used two or three of these in entire 2 years. Once I had a stomach ache, I used medicines for those. I've used medicines for cold since I'm in Northeast. I contracted COVID for a few days, so there were certain medicines for that. But apart from that, since COVID is also gone now and everyone is pretty much immunized, you won't need these many medicines. If you have a medical history, then it makes sense to get a batch of those medicines. But apart from that, I would not recommend getting these many medicines. So I would say probably the only thing you need is a crocin for if you have fever. Also, two things about medicine. So after COVID, pretty much all of the schools are very stringent about the health insurance that you choose, and you cannot cheap out on that. So your health insurance is going to cover any additional pharmaceutical costs, and you're paying a lot in your insurance, so might as well use all of those medicines. The second thing is it's a common misconception that you do not get over the counter medicines in the US. That is not true. You can get a lot of these medicines, ibuprofen or something like that, you get in large batches in drugstore, and they're inexpensive as well. They're not crazy expensive. Medicines for allergies, cotton or ibuprofen or other pain relievers, you can easily get at your nearest CVS or drugstore. So these are super inexpensive as well. And I would not recommend to get most of these things. Probably one or two of these which you think would apply to you. Maybe Let's say something for stomachache, probably you'll need maybe a painkiller and something for cold. That's all you need. If you need anything extra, it's very readily available over here. I would pretty much cross out all of this. You do not need a lot. I still have a large bag of medicines. Pretty much all of them have expired. I've only used a couple of them. All right, next we have essential items. Winter or leather jacket. You definitely do not need a leather jacket. That's ridiculous. You do not even need a winter jacket. You could get a winter jacket over here. There are a lot of stores which are very inexpensive as well. I would not recommend a winter jacket. If you are wearing a particular kind of jacket, maybe get that, but apart from that, do not get any extra jackets. Gloves, again, you can get it over here. They are inexpensive. Do not get it from India. Mufflers and scarves, do not get it from India. They are very inexpensive. And even if you're coming at a time when it's going to be cold, you will not need it. Trust me, you will not need it. There are stores everywhere and you can just get it within a day. Everything is very readily available. You do not need woolen sweaters. And the reason I can cross out all of these things is because I purchased all of these things and I didn't use them at all. So that's the reason I'm crossing them out. T-shirts again, you could get a couple of t-shirts if you want. You do not need 6 to 8. Just look at Amazon, you'll find a bunch of like 12 pack t-shirts or something, and they are super cheap as well. You definitely do not need 6 to 8 t-shirts. Get a few and then over here you can come and buy jeans. If you wear jeans, get them. I had like 4 or 5 pairs of jeans. I never wore any of them, so I definitely wouldn't recommend 4 to 5. Just get one or two. Formal shirt, it says two. Most people are gonna get a suit anyways, and usually when you're getting a suit, you'll also get a formal shirt and trousers. So you just need one pair of that. I wouldn't recommend two of them. Ties, if you wear ties, get them. If you do not wear ties, I never wore ties, so I'd cross it out, but if you wear them you can take it. Suit, you need swimming trunk. If you are gonna swim, get swimming trunks. If you're not gonna swim, don't get it. Also, they are very inexpensive again over here, so I would recommend not getting a swimming trunk. Baseball cap, don't get it. Again, very readily available over here and they're not expensive. Woolen beanies, anything with winter clothes, is it just doesn't make sense to get it from India. Formal wear for ladies, you can get a couple of pairs for that. Casual shirts, I have a bunch of casual shirts. I probably wore them once or twice. I do not wear a lot of shirts. If you wear them, get them. You do not need 3 to 4. Again, you can get a lot of them for very cheap in a lot of stores over here. Chinos and capris, I have never worn them. I would not recommend either of them. If you wear them, get them. If you do not wear them, do not. Undergarments, top and bottom. I would recommend you do not need a top. Just the bottoms would do. Thermal wear. Again, no matter how cold it gets, I've never really worn thermal. It's you can layer up, but thermals are just uncomfortable after a point. So I would not recommend thermal pairs. Ankle length socks. You do not need ankle length socks. I mean, if you want to, you can get them, but if you do not wear ankle length socks, you do not need ankle length socks. You do not need a lot of socks as well. Again, clothes are something that are quite inexpensive in most of the stores over here. So if you have space, I guess you can take it, but they're not super expensive. Please do not fill up your bags with clothes. Formal socks, okay, you can get a couple of pairs, definitely not 4 pairs. Nightwear, I never wear nightwear, so I'm gonna cross it out. And you definitely do not need 4 of those. Traditional wear, you do not need to, you just need one. And if you are gonna attend the traditional events, if you're not gonna attend those, then it doesn't even make sense to have one. Formal shoes, you need one. Sneakers, 1 pair, it's fine. Floaters, again, I got a pair of floaters, I got a pair of sandals, I got a pair of slippers, I got a pair of slides. You do not need all of these. Maybe 1 pair of shoes and 1 pair of slippers. That's all you need. So I wouldn't recommend floaters. I would not recommend sandals either. Just your sneakers and slippers will do. Belts, 2 pair. Again, I rarely use belts over here, so you do not need 2 pairs for sure. Just get 1 pair and you'll be fine. Track suit and shorts. You can get gym wear over here and they're quite inexpensive. Also, I don't know why you need specific tracksuit and shorts. Alright, shorts you could probably use, but tracksuit I would not recommend. I don't know what glares are. Watch. I had watch. I got a watch. I never wore it and I'm not going to. So if you have an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or something like that, you can take a watch. Otherwise, I would not recommend it. Handkerchiefs, again, nobody uses handkerchief over here. I would not recommend it. A good umbrella, yeah, this is important. A lot of places you would not expect to rain a lot, like Boston over here, it rains pretty much a third of the month. So it's good practice to have a good umbrella. Again, if you do not have it, it's pretty inexpensive as well. A leather wallet, get any wallet. It doesn't have to be a leather wallet. Get any wallet. A leather wallet for passport, you do not need that. Just get your passport, that's all you need. You do not need, if it helps you keep organized, then yes, you can get it. Otherwise, you do not need it. Bag lock with small rope or chain available in market. I don't know what that is, but I got a similar rope, but I would not recommend it. All right, electronics. Do not bring much, bring essentials only. That's right. External hard drive, 500 GB minimum. I don't know where that comes from, but you do not need that. Pen drive, 16 GB minimum. I've never used a pen drive. I had pen drives, I never used them. USB keyboard and mouse, optional, which is true. If you get a good laptop, you probably are not never gonna use a USB keyboard or mouse unless you get a monitor with it as well. So I would not recommend it. A laptop, if you have a laptop, get it. If you do not have a laptop, you can buy one over here. iPod or MP3 player, you do not need that. Digital SLR camera. If you do photography, I guess it makes sense, but otherwise, no. A headphone with mic. Again, you can get cheap headphones with mic over here. So I would not recommend that. Branded spike buster. You can get that very easily over here. I would not recommend that. Indian pin to US pin converter. Oh yeah, these are important. Make sure you have, you do not need three to four, probably one or two would do as well, but make sure you have the pin converters, especially in the start when you have a lot of Indian appliances. Optional items. All right. Everyday milk powder sachets. You do not need that. Saucepan for boiling water. Again, you can get a lot of utensils, but I would recommend just get one pan, and that would do that you could use for pretty much everything. So yeah, a saucepan for boiling water, I would recommend just get one. Sugar cubes, no, do not buy them. You can easily get it over here. Mug, you will easily get it over here. Melamine plateful. Again, if there are like plates, bowls, or knives or forks or spoons, all of these things, they are very readily available over here. Do not get any of these. Even knives, I would not recommend getting over from India. Tea bags, pretty much all of the branded tea bags are available over here. And if you do not drink tea, you do not need it. But if you drink tea, even then, like, I would not recommend it getting from India. SS glass. What's an SS glass? Chapati roller pin. If you're gonna make chapati, get it from India. Otherwise, doesn't make sense. Most people are never gonna do it, so don't get it. Some homemade sweets. If you wanna have homemade sweets, or these are like, if you wanna have homemade sweets, you can get it. They are mostly going to be available wherever you go, but if you want it for the first few weeks, then you can get it. Homemade pickles. I mean, get any pickles. Even homemade sweets, you can get like any sweets, right? If you want sweets or pickles, you can get them, but they are available over here as well, so you can buy them over here. Snacks and eatables. Okay, for the first few days, yeah, it makes sense to get some snacks and eatables, especially if you're gonna stay in a hotel until your apartment lease starts or something like that. All powders. Again, most of these spices are going to be available, but it says 100 grams each. Yeah, so spices are going to be available, but you can get some of each. Salt, they are very readily available. Do not get salt. Papads, if you eat papads, you can get them, otherwise don't. Tamarind, again it's spice. Tamarind, if you eat tamarind, get it. Oh, I missed this. Okay, I missed the toiletries. Towels you can very easily get in the superstores, so do not get any towels from India. Don't get too specially too. Hand towels you do not need. Large or small. Toothpaste again is very readily available over here. If you need it for the first few days, it makes sense, but do not get bunch of them. Even toothbrush, you do not need two or three. Just get one toothbrush and then buy over here. They're quite inexpensive. Razor and blade. If you shave a lot, then it makes sense to get the razor and blades. Scissors, I would not recommend getting from India. Nail clipper. Again, you can easily find it in a drugstore and they are pretty inexpensive. Do not get it from India. Shampoo, do not get it from India. It says 5 to 6 small sachets. But pretty much everywhere you go, you'll have some kind of soap or shampoo. So do not get it from India. One soap, one or two small soap. Again, pretty much the first thing you'll do after coming here is shop. because you need all of the basic items to survive, no matter how many things you got from India. So it doesn't make sense to get any of these things. Okay, maybe you can get all of these things in small quantities. Soap, all right. Shaving foam, if you shave, then get it. Cold cream, I would not recommend getting that. Buy it over here. Lip balm, get it. Vaseline, get it. Actually, buy it over here. Combs or hairbrushes, maybe get one. Deodorant, they are, I think they'll be cheaper if you get it from India. Earbuds, if you clean your ears, go ahead, buy them. Hair oil, you can get a small packet. Sunscreen, one small packet you can get. Electric shaver and hair clipper. If you clip your own hair and then use an electric shaver, go ahead and get it. Dustbin bags, I would not recommend them at all. Mirror, would not recommend at all. Alright, bedding, and girls can add up to their personal hygiene and makeup requirements. Yeah, makes sense. Bedding, bed sheets. If you're very sure that what kind of bed you're gonna get, you can get fitted bed sheets for them. Otherwise, do not get a lot of bed sheets. I had like 3 pairs and I don't use any of them. I just use one pair of fitted bed sheet now. Pillow covers, again. Usually when you buy your bed frame and mattress, you'll buy your bed sheets and pillow covers anyway, so you do not need to get it from India. I would not recommend. Blanket, do not get from India. Doher comforter razai, you do not need it. Covering sheet or chadar, do not need it. Cotton pillow, definitely don't need it. Yeah, don't get any bedding items from India. All right, so the last one. This is your first task. Go to Walmart or dollar store or Indian store and buy the essential items. You did not get it from India. Yeah, do that. So now we have optional items. So these definitely are going to be, do not get it, but let's see. So first one, electric iron. I've never used electric iron, even though I've worn formals a couple of times. I've never had to use electric iron, so would not recommend. Frying pans, you just need one pan. Again, you do not need two, definitely. Get one saucepan, I'd say, not two, and then you're pretty much done. Pressure cooker, usually people think that you won't get pressure cookers in US. That is not true. You can get it, and they are not very expensive as well. And usually they use rice cookers over here, and it's much easier to cook in rice cookers compared to pressure cookers, and you can pretty much cook all of the things that you cooked in pressure cooker. So I would not recommend a pressure cooker. Tawa, I would not recommend it unless you're making rotis. Kadai or wok, I would not recommend it. Boiling pot, I would not recommend it. Stew pan, would not recommend. Colander, I don't know what that is. Pair of kitchen tongs, that actually comes in handy a couple of times. So you could get one of those. Dinner set of 6 with serving bowls. No. Don't collect glasses, spoons, forks, ladles. Get a stirrer. Get a spatula. One or two spatula, that's fine. Get a serving or basting spoon. Do not get three. Get maybe one. A slotted spoon. One is fine. Dustbin bags. No. Don't get them. Dishwashing gel, again, you'll buy them. After you come here, scrubber, you'll buy them. Dustbin, you'll buy them. Water bottles, again, get one. That's fine. Food items such as rice, dal, cooking oil, ghee, wheat, any of these. I would not recommend any of these except probably the spices, and that too in like very small quantities. Bicycle, do not get these. Any other item which is important to you. All right, so that's it. A long list, but as you can see, I pretty much removed more than half of the things out of the list. I'll probably share it somewhere in the description. So I went over this in my previous video as well, where I said that I'd probably take 2 bags instead of 3, even though you have the option to get 3 bags. And then you have a lot of things. You probably think you need a lot of things, but after coming here, you'll realize that you can get pretty much everything. So you do not really need all of these things. If I had to do it all over again, I'd probably try to fit everything in just 2 bags and just do 2 bags and not 3. But yeah, that's the video. Hopefully it helps. At the very least, hopefully it tells you like what are the things you can buy over here and you do not need to get every single thing.